안녕하세요. Hey everyone, I'm Ryan from the Yangmal Changnan team. We just completed our crowdfunding campaign on Whatis, a Korean crowdfunding website, and in this video I'm going to explain how we did that, the steps we took from our marketing campaign to launch, to how we drove traffic and sales, so that you can learn from our experience to launch your own crowdfunding campaign in Korea. First of all, why did we even decide to crowdfund? Well, we knew that we wanted to reach customers that weren't already in our ecosystem. I recently moved to Korea. I don't have a big network here. This isn't like my life in New York City, where I could send a tweet and have 30 people come to some event or come to my birthday party or click on my website. My Korean network is very small, maybe 20 people, let's say. So when we decided to go with crowdfunding, the real decision was not based on needing funding money, which is what a lot of people use crowdfunding for. We used crowdfunding as a way to just reach new audiences. After we decided that crowdfunding was going to be our launch mechanism, we needed to choose which crowdfunding platform. Now, as an American, naturally, it occurred to me we could use Kickstarter. However, this game, Yangmal Changnan, is a Korean word game. So 99% of the people speaking that language, Korean, live here in Korea. And half of those people live literally right here in Seoul, around 25 million. So using Kickstarter didn't make a lot of sense because we'd be working with an American company and an English website and English payment processors trying to sell to a bunch of people that live right next to me. So we knew we needed to use a Korean crowdfunding platform. When we looked at all the crowdfunding platforms, Whatis was our favorite for a few reasons. First, we just really felt that they were mature. There were a lot of great features for both creators as well as backers. They also do a lot of promotion of their best projects on their social media accounts and their website and their newsletter. And thirdly, we just felt that Whatis had the biggest and widest audience because if you go to their categories page, you can see everything from board games to films to travel documentaries. Once we decided to go with Whatis, the next thing we needed to work on was our marketing strategy. Because you can't rely on the crowdfunding platform alone to do all of the work for you. You still need to drive traffic to your project, tell your story, and explain why someone should choose your project over many other great projects on Whatis. To develop our marketing strategy, I teamed up with Joy. She's a digital marketer from Canada who's been living in Korea for the last few months. She also served, in addition to marketing expertise, as a great bilingual translator between myself and the Whatis team. Because as you submit your listing, they ask a lot of questions. These can be legal questions, these can be related to marketing, your product, features of your product. And even though I study Korean a lot and I speak it on a daily basis, I'm still not quite at the level required to launch my own project from scratch on a platform like Whatis. So by working with Joy, we developed a great program that had in mind the Korean audience, that also helped me translate my thoughts from English, and it was just great to work with another marketer because that's how you brainstorm and put different ideas together to get the best result. After drafting the plan to communicate our product and our vision to potential customers, we needed to design the actual project page. This is a single URL on the Whatis platform that has really every detail about your product, from the features and benefits, to the pricing, to your manufacturing timeline, and of course your story, early beta reviews, any media you might have gotten, and details about your team. Of course, nowadays, crowdfunding is not a new concept anymore, which means basically every crowdfunding campaign looks really great. So to design that page, I tagged a couple people. First, Seyoung. Seyoung helped us create animations and all kinds of graphics that users can look at as they scroll down our project page, which really explains how the game works in a fun way without requiring them to read a lot of text. Next, I hired Austin. He's a videographer who specializes in making e-commerce direct-to-consumer commercials. And what Austin did was help us create this really professional commercial that we put at the very top of our project page in the featured area. So by this point, we had drafted our marketing plan and designed our project page. Everything looked great, so we were ready to launch. But before we launch, there's just one more detail we have to know about, and that is money. For us, that meant designing our reward tiers and making sure that we had enough profit margin to sustain ourselves following the funding period. When you think about reward tiers for a crowdfunding campaign, it's really important to consider that your supporters, your backers, are taking a risk on you because they're pre-buying something that doesn't exist yet and possibly won't exist for a period of weeks, months, or even years in some crowdfunding cases. We wanted to figure out a way to balance that risk for our supporters while also not requiring ourselves to use out-of-pocket money just to fund our game idea. What we came up with was very simple. Essentially, we added free shipping, a 20 to 25% discount on the game, and some stickers that our backers get that regular customers won't get after the campaign ended. We also prepared a few spreadsheets which helped us analyze what minimum order quantities we would require in order to maintain about a 40% margin, which is enough for us to personally do all the fulfillment, packing, shipping, and small batch orders from our manufacturers. All right, now we can talk about launch. Our campaign was about 30 days long from the end of June until the end of July. The moment our campaign went live, we began executing our marketing plan. This mostly consisted of posting in community groups on social media, sending free copies to influencers, mommy bloggers, really anyone who wanted one and had an audience. And we also started emailing journalists to see if they thought this was a story worth covering. Thanks to Joy, who executed each of these tactics every day, sales began coming in. Thanks to all the outreach to journalists, we landed a long interview on both TBS Radio, where I went to the radio station and we did a live broadcast, as well as a very long, detailed interview in the Korea Times. And thanks to the games that we sent out to influencers, our social media following began to grow, and we also had a lot of great user-generated content from these influencers that we could repost on our account. We also created an advertising partnership with one of the largest Korean language learning websites, howtostudykorean.com, which drove international users to our English landing page on our regular website instead of What Is. Now the moment you've all been waiting for, results. We achieved 127% of our funding goal, which we're very happy about. And even during the last few days of our funding, when we didn't need to raise any more money, we were still getting discovered by useful influencers and media outlets about our campaign. For example, just a couple days before our campaign ended, I was able to interview with Naked Soul. They're a new startup and brand that focuses on communicating and sharing the Korean culture and Korean products with people abroad who love Korea. We also are working on sales distribution channels with partners who specialize in shipping internationally outside of Korea. And in fact, the Naked Soul opportunity came from a journalist who was listening to our TBS radio interview. And going one step further, a family member of famous children who speak Korean really well found our Korea Times interview and connected us so that we can play together and try to make more YouTube video content. And to be honest, all of this makes sense. As I've blogged about before, marketing is just compound interest, which means one small thing leads to something bigger. In our case, as an example, one email to a journalist led to an interview. That interview was seen or read by an influencer. That influencer, when we work with them, shares our product with a bunch of potential customers. And once a product has a lot of happy customers, that same journalist has a news story to tell about a successful new product. Anyway, can you tell that I'm a marketer? Overall, we had a really great experience, and I would definitely work with What Is again for a future product. However, for people watching this, including the What Is team, I want to share a few pros and cons that we experienced during our campaign. A, there's no guarantee that What Is will promote you to their audience, even if your project page looks great and people are really happy with your game. We'll never really know exactly how their feature system works, if it's based on an algorithm, if it's based on just someone on the team who likes you, and that's okay. They don't have to explain how they do this, but I'm just trying to communicate that it's a bad idea to assume that you'll be successful because the What Is team will share your campaign. In our case, I don't think they shared our campaign on social media, website, or the newsletter, but it still worked out because we were able to execute an awesome marketing plan, again, thanks to Joy. Next, it's really difficult for foreigners to use What Is, even foreigners living in Korea. This is because What Is requires a Korean bank account, and of course the entire website is in Korean. Since one of our target audiences is foreigners in Korea learning Korean, this was kind of a bummer because we're so close to this group of people, but because we used What Is, there wasn't really an easy way for them to work with us. Third, it took a few weeks for our campaign to be approved by the What Is team. It's not an automatic process where you just fill in a box and click launch. You have to work back and forth with their team, refining your details, explaining how your reward tiers work, and of course demonstrating that what you're launching is not some official business, it's just a fun side project. What this meant for us, and why I'm calling this a con, is that we had to continually reset expectations with our potential backers, friends, and customers. I think I probably told friends, we're launching next week for about 4 weeks. As a final con to working with Whatis, during our campaign, we had to drive all website traffic to the Whatis page, which would be fine if we only wanted to target people in Korea speaking Korean. But because we wanted to target Korean speakers abroad as well as English speakers domestic in Korea, this made it kind of complicated to execute some of the aspects of our marketing plan, such as international English-based advertisements. Okay, now let's talk about the pros, because again, we really loved working with Whatis. That application period I mentioned, where you wait a few weeks to get approved, it's actually free consulting from a group of experts who know a lot more about crowdfunding than you or I do. So if you set expectations with your audience that, hey, we don't know when we're launching, but we're working really hard, and you instead take your time working with the Whatis team, you can create a really amazing project page at no cost to you because their team specializes in helping you do this. Another pro of working with Whatis, or really any crowdfunding platform, is that when you drive your friends and family to a professional website like Whatis, it's a lot less awkward to ask them for money than if you told them your bank details or some weird, sketchy website that you made yourself. When you drive people to Whatis, there's a chance that that person already has a Whatis account and kind of understands how crowdfunding works. And of course, because it's a crowdfunding campaign, that person is guaranteed a refund if you don't achieve your funding limit. A third pro of working with Whatis is that payments are super easy to accept. In Korea, there aren't as many technologies like Stripe and other platforms in America that you can use to quickly accept credit cards or bank fees from your customers. So in Korea, working with Whatis allowed us to skip all of the coding aspect of collecting payments and just focus on our product. Next, and I think this is one of the biggest pros of working with Whatis, is that the team forces you to create a lot of assets and your story and your designs and your margins that you're going to need anyway if your funding is successful and you turn your product into a small business later. So for us, that meant creating our rules, creating GIFs animating how the gameplay works, creating FAQs, getting beta testers and beta tester reviews and feedback. Before we launched our Whatis campaign, we created around 19 different prototypes of our product simply by playing with other people. We were then able to take those reviews from other people and turn them into Whatis marketing assets. For my last pro, I'll say again that if Whatis does like you, whether that means it's their team or their algorithm or whatever, then you can get free promotion and free customers from the platform. This is really great because even if you're an influencer with a lot of followers or you're really good at advertising on social media, no amount of followers or advertising budget will ever be as great as free customers. All of us marketers know that. So if you do launch a campaign and you launch with Whatis, make it as great as you possibly can. And if you get lucky, they might promote you even more. What are our next steps? Well, today we launched our website so that anyone can go and read in English or Korean. They can also learn how to play, they can learn a little bit about the Korean language in general, and of course they can buy our game, which ships to them within around 24 hours. Our immediate next step is to begin advertising on social media, as well as working with Korean-speaking YouTubers to show how fun Yangmail game can be for kids, language learners, and even native speakers. We're also going to launch additional products and add-ons to the Yangmail game so that we can continue spreading our love of the Korean language, Hangul, to people all over the world. 양말 장난합시다. Thank you Whatis, thank you Korea. One last note, Sejong-daewang, the inventor of Hangul, 감사합니다. Thank you.